It has been just over a year since I shared about my master task list template in Notion, how I manage all of my tasks in this digital organization tool to control all the chaotic thoughts happening up here. It's had over 4,000 downloads so far, so thank you. It's been so awesome to see this template get out into the world, and you guys are loving it and using it. But since it has been over a year, I've changed a few things on the template. I've changed a few things on how I'm approaching my to-do list on Notion. And so in this video, I'm gonna go over all the updates. And if you didn't see that last video, well then this is gonna be brand new for you. My name is Kalyn, and I love discovering new ways to keep my life organized and on track, and I share those with you here on this YouTube channel. So if you are not a subscriber yet, it takes a couple of seconds for you to become part of the family. And if those are the kinds of videos that you like, if you're a productivity and planner nerd, you definitely want to make sure you don't miss an upcoming video. First of all, what is a master task list, and why do you need it in your life? This is a mega list of all your to-dos. So we're bringing everything that you have in your brain, on different apps, on sticky notes and notebooks. We're bringing them all into one place so you can manage, sort, contain, and organize it all. And you have one place that you're working from to be able to figure out what you need to do for your month, week, and day instead of checking like 5 different places. Even though I'm a huge Notion girly, I'm gonna come out and say that you do not have to have your master task list in Notion. In fact, I'm gonna go as far as to say if you are not fully integrated and committed to the Notion ecosystem, you should probably keep your master task list in a different app. And I know, I feel like all the daggers coming for me that I'm like, wait, I shouldn't use Notion. Hear me out. Notion is an extremely customized tool. So basically, you start with a blank page, you start with a blank database, you're building it so that it reflects exactly what you want to track. And that's really cool for people that want to get in there and do the nitty-gritty and build things themselves. It's extremely empowering, and you can get exactly what you want. But if you're looking for a more out-of-the-box system, then an app like Todoist or Things or TickTick is going to be a lot better. Even just a list in your notebook titled Master Task List, as long as all of your tasks do go in that notebook and you're like, oh no, I don't have my notebook and now I need to write something on my notes app. Just make sure you get it into your notebook. So whatever it is, wherever you're capturing things, try to get it into one system. Because I use Notion for basically everything, it makes the most sense for me to keep my tasks in Notion as well. So that's what we're gonna dive into today. I'm gonna show you how I manage all of my tasks inside Notion using Notion as the master task list, and how I can make it appear in different places in my workspace. And then I'm gonna give you a free template. Just give me your email, I'll send it to your inbox, and you can get kind of the bare bones structure of what I'm gonna talk about. All right, enough chit chat, let's dive into Notion and show you what this task management system looks like. And if anything spazzes out, it's not me, it's a new screen recording app that I am testing out. Hopefully it works. So over here on the left-hand side, I have under the shared section, because I share this master task list with my husband, Joseph. I will click on that and it brings up this page with a database of all different tabs. Now, why, when you track your tasks in Notion, you want to use a database instead of, let's just say, a checkbox block on a page, is because it groups these items together, which allows you to filter it by different descriptors or context, or what Notion calls properties, like a due date or a category or a priority level. Without the database, there's no way to filter and sort and organize that information. It's very static. You got a checkbox and the text, and that is it. So that's why I highly recommend using a database, and that's what the master task list template is built on. So right now I have a few different tabs up here that are different views. So there's different ways of viewing the same information. But let's go through this, all these different tabs. So the All tab, obviously every single task. However, I do have it grouped by certain statuses, and this is where we start to get into what I've changed. So I used to do the now, next, later, and in progress statuses. Now I've changed now to current, because now just felt like very in my face. I know that like sounds a little funny, but I was like, I just need it to be current, which sounds a little bit nicer, whereas now, like it needs to be done now, it was just stressing me out. So now changed to current. Up next pretty much stayed the same. And then I changed my later tab to someday, because later felt like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get to this later. I'm gonna, at some point I'm gonna do this. And technically, yes, it's the same meaning as someday, but for some reason, the word someday, I think it's David Allen's book, Getting Things Done, is like the someday / maybe task list. I just really liked the term someday. So that gives me, or makes me feel like I'm not under as much pressure to have some tasks under someday. So this is just grouped by these different statuses, so I can click open the toggle, see everything that's current, up next, someday, in progress, and then I added a waiting on tab, which these are things that I'm like, I kind of started, but I'm not really sure I'm gonna continue with them, so it's a holding pattern. It's a waiting room for tasks that I don't know what to do with yet. This week tab, this is a calendar view where I have all of my tasks shown by throughout the week. I love this view, and I actually have this view on my weekly planning page or weekly planning routine page as well, just because it helps me not overload my days, and I can easily just drag and drop back and forth on the days. The quick wins tab, I have filtered this to show everything that is a low priority, so that if I just have a little bit of time to get something done, I can come over here and see what can I do that's not going to take a lot of time, take a lot of energy, and just get it off my list. The home and personal category is just something, I don't call out every single category, but these are items where if you go in here, and you can see the category, and I promise we're going to go through all these properties in a minute, but I just want to show you the tabs first. This is filtered to show anything that is the home and personal category, because sometimes I don't necessarily have those items on my list with a particular due date, but I'm like, hey, it's a Saturday and maybe I should get something done around the home. What is on my list? The needs attention tab is anything that is overdue. So I just have to click the due date and change it to, today or next week, whatever, when I think I can get it done. The completed tab is everything that I have recently completed, sorted by the most recent. I mean, this has got probably over 1,000 tasks in it, but I like calling this out because it shows me, one, if I make a mistake and check something off, I can go into this tab and easily find that task rather than sorting through thousands and thousands of them to find what I need to put back on my list. The other thing is it shows me I got stuff done. Sometimes I get to the end of the day and I'm like, what did I actually do? And this tab helps me call it out. The last tab is, what is this? Oh, by category. I was playing with the new charts function, so I'm gonna have to dig into this a little bit more because this literally just came out yesterday before I'm filming this, and I was just playing around with it. I don't have any thoughts, but I guess I should say I don't have any thoughts besides I think it's really cool and I think it's going to be helpful. I just don't know how I'm going to integrate it yet, so I was just playing around with that. But let's go into a task and talk about those properties that you can add. You can add, if I unhide this toggle and click add a property, there are so many different options. I'm not going to go through all of these. They're pretty self-explanatory, the things that you could add to add some context, like I was saying, to your task. Notion even has some suggested things based on what you're already using this database for, so you could check those out as well. But the main things that I do, and let me hide these because those are more like formulas happening behind the scenes. You've got the status. This is new to me as of, I think, a few months ago, the week number. So this is a formula property where I just wanted to know the week out of the year and the year. So it's just kind of, the formula is structured on how I want to see that. Due date, obviously self-explanatory. Categories, we talked about that. And then priority level, I added medium as of a couple months ago as well. When I did my first video, I originally had just high and low, and I was just feeling a need for that medium level of this doesn't need to be done right away, or it's not super important and urgent, but it's also not really low. Energy level. I have a whole video on energy management that you should definitely go watch as well, because different tasks take different types of energy levels. And by assigning high energy tasks to my high energy times of day, and in that energy management video, you're going to get an energy tracking template that's going to tell you when those times of day are. It's gonna change the game for you, because you'll also know, like, I cannot put more than 2 high energy tasks in a day just because I don't have the capacity for the rest of it. So if you've been struggling with your energy levels, try assigning energy levels to your tasks. Then make sure you're doing those tasks in the appropriate times where you have higher energy to tackle the tasks that need more focused, and vice versa. The assigned property are for people who have teams, or maybe you have family members who use Notion with you. You can assign tasks to them. The 6-week sprint, that's what the SWS means, /project. I have a whole video that goes into that. This is if that task is linked to a project. And I'll show you a little bit later when I show you everything or everywhere in my workspace that I have this task list, this master task list featured. Project pages are one of them, because when I assign a project, I can then filter, again, we're bringing that word filter into things again, to show all the tasks related to that project on the project page. Media, I don't typically use, but it's there just in case I need to upload a file related to the task. This occurs property is basically telling me whether this is a one-time task or a recurring task and how often it recurs. I'm not going to go into recurring tasks really that much here, just because I have a whole video dedicated to that. I know I am just giving you a huge video list to watch. I hope you didn't have anything else to do today, because that is going to go into a lot more detail on the 2 different methods you can do in Notion in terms of recurring tasks, and which one I use and why I think it's better than the other. Then I have 2 properties that connect, and when I say connect, that is a relation property, so they connect to other databases. So KB content connects to my Kalyn Brook YouTube content and emails and blog posts, etc. Open Roading is my travel brand, so I've got all of our videos linked in there, and so if any tasks related to the content that I'm making, I can link that page so I can easily click on it and go directly to that piece of content. And then this Google Drive property is new. I think they added it maybe like 6 months ago, and I love it because sometimes a task relates to a folder that I have in Google Drive, and especially this is good if you are on the free version and you don't want to upgrade yet to the Pro, you're not ready to pay for it yet, you're not sure you're totally invested in Notion. Use the Google Drive property and then link your Google Drive account, and you can just upload videos and images and things that you need to reference to Google Drive, and then you can just type and find them and link them to the task that you need that media attached to, rather than uploading them to the media section, which is going to take more bandwidth, because on the free plan of Notion, you are limited to 5 megabytes per file. So they have to be smaller files for you to upload them. And then you also have some block limits. So like adding extra files into the page as a block is going to count against your free plan as well. So just some things to keep in mind, but I really love the addition of that property. Okay, I think we are ready to go look at different places in this workspace where I have linked my master task list. I know I keep mentioning it. Let's actually go look at those. So first, we're going to go over to my personal dashboard, and I have this linked in a couple different places. I have this linked in a brain dump section so that I can just quickly use one of these buttons that I have set up that is attached to my task list and will automatically add a task to that list. And I don't have to have a due date for it yet. I don't have to have a category for it yet. I'm just brain dumping and getting something into Notion so that later I can organize it. And then under that, I have the My Tasks section where there's everything due today. I have that weekly view again because I just like seeing, that's a way for me to visualize my week. I think that's everything I have on my personal dashboard related to tasks. So let's go over to my weekly planning page because I have mentioned that as well. And I have this linked in a few different areas. I did a whole video on my weekly planning routine. I gave you a template that looks similar to this, but I'm celebrating completed tasks when I come in for my week and I'm planning my new one. I just want to take some time to celebrate what I already got done. I can clear my inboxes. So under tasks, these are things that I don't have a due date, that I just brain dumped something, or this does have a due date, but it doesn't have a category. So basically, tasks that I just need to organize come into this section. And they come through that brain dump section on my personal dashboard page, or my quick capture page, which is just a list of buttons for tasks and projects up here that are automatically going to add things to my task list via this button. And I have quick capture as a widget on my phone, so on the go, I can always get a task into the system, because you could have the most robust system ever known to mankind, and if you don't have a way to quickly capture information and get information into it, it's kind of useless. So I have a whole video on that as well. Auditing tasks that need attention. That's that overdue button. So if I haven't dealt with it in the other areas of my workspace, when I sit down to plan my week, I can also grab it again here. And then I have my recurring tasks. We already talked about that. Go watch that video. Adding new tasks. I have some button actions here. I have to do this week. Again, that same exact view that I really like to see when I'm planning my week to make sure I'm not overloading my days. And I hope this is not confusing, that I'm just like going to other pages in my Notion workspace and you're like, I can't even like follow you. Just know this, Notion allows you to link a database wherever you need to see it. And it's very simple. You're just using the plus sign to come up with the list of blocks, doing a slash command and linked view of database, clicking on it, choosing the database that you want to bring in here. You get to choose the view, you get to see how many of the properties you want to see. You can really just customize it to make it your own. The last section that I wanted to show you where I had this task list embedded was in a sprints and project page. So over here on each of these in progress, sprints and goals and projects, to kind of like mush them all together in the same database. Let's go into the online summit that I'm speaking at soon. This is almost done because I have my presentation all done for it. I almost have all my emails done for it. So down here I have a task list filtered to show me anything where this project contains this particular project, so that I don't have to go again clicking around to find all the tasks related to this project. It's already brought into this page. One other thing that I will mention, something really cool that Notion does, is you can apply templates to your tasks. So you can decide ahead of time what are the most common types of tasks that you have. And for me, I look at tasks in terms of different categories, and generally I like to separate those by either like a different emoji or icon or a different color icon. All the red is for my travel brand. All the purple is for home and personal. All the black is for my business tasks. And so over here on the drop down next to the database, on the right side of the database, you will see all the templates that I have created where you can add default properties to automatically apply when you click that template. So when I click a personal task, it's going to automatically say current, it's going to automatically say home and personal, the priority is going to be low, but I can totally change that, and then I can fill in the other properties as needed. By default, whenever you build a database, it's going to have this empty view as, let's see, I'll just set this as default on this view to show you what it looks like. And if you clicked new on this database or any new database that you created, it's completely empty. And you would have to go in and add an icon and add a title and fill all of these properties out. So as many properties as you know will kind of be a mainstay for a certain type of task, and you know the emoji that you want to use or the icon, and you know the color that you want to use, create a database template. It's really quite easy. You just go into the drop down, new template, and then fill everything out. And then you can select one of these and it will automatically apply that template. So another really cool thing, another point for Notion. Based on what you've seen today, you can feel free to open up a blank page of Notion and build your ideal master task list yourself and just kind of play around with it and see what you want. Or if you don't want to start from scratch, you can download my template for free. I'm going to pull it up here because it does look a little bit different, because I can't account for if you're going to be linking your database or master task list database in other areas of your workspace. I think it's a good idea to, but just so you get used to using it, Here is what I've got, the all tasks section with the main database and all the tabs that you pretty much saw on mine, some tasks buttons to be able to add new tasks, and then I have a recurring tasks section up here if you wanted to track recurring tasks in Notion in the way that I did it. And because I didn't go into deep detail about how to use this specifically, like every nitty-gritty little section, I did film an extra video tutorial for you that's going to explain how to use this template as is, because I know mine looks a little different and you're going to be starting from this one, so it's just going to help give you some pointers on what you need to know. Again, you can download that for free via the link in my description, but the main thing I want to get across is that you need a place, it doesn't have to be Notion, to put all of your tasks together. I think it is going to help streamline things so much for you, and if you've been feeling really scattered, this is going to help bring it all together. And if you're looking at your task list and feeling really overwhelmed as to what's on there and you're not sure what to prioritize first, watch this video next, because that's going to give you my 3-step system to be able to know exactly whether a task is high, medium, or low priority and where it should be in your hierarchy of tasks. Plus, I'm going to talk about a new app that you should download that integrates perfectly with Notion and is going to help you time block those tasks more effectively. So I'll see you over there.